So this is something I was touching on before I got to the slides for it. For the routing of auth is a subsite, and they have their own internal dispatch, and you need to declare this in your routes because otherwise your actual site doesn't know how to route to that.
Is this a common thing in Yesod to have like in Rails and stuff? You could have like sub projects like mounted, like we call them engines or whatever at one point. Is that a thing that you do where you have like a sub project and you mount it?
I'm not familiar with those terms, but it sounds like kind of, yeah. I mean, the main cases I see this, like, I haven't actually ever structured one of my projects myself like this, you know, like, actually have like some component I've reused, like a billing system or something. But like you see this very often for auth because that's how you do auth. And also the static system that's actually included in the scaffolding before I tore it out just to keep things a little simpler.
For static files?
Yeah, is actually a subsite as well because it handles its own dispatch and such for the, yeah. Because it actually generates like files from your static directories and then does stuff with them, yeah. So this is how you handle like things that need their own dispatch and such, basically.
So the sub-site will have its own handler, like definition of handlers.
Yeah.
And once you hit that sub-site, then it is responsible for routing.
Yeah. So you know, this is a line for like this. So we say, you know, for anything under /auth, we're going to give it to our auth_r, which is like the route resource, the resource for the whole subsite. Now this one here, the auth, is actually the foundation data type of the subsite. And these two lines specify that it's kind of it as a subsite. And getOff is basically, getOff is actually a little strange. GetOff is a function to get the subsite's foundation data value from the master site's foundation data value. Because, you know, you may have some initialization stuff or, you know, global values that you want to keep track of for a subsite, but it needs to be fed through in the same way that the foundation is. So auth itself doesn't actually need this. I'm pretty sure getOff is just like defined in auth_r somewhere and doesn't actually really do anything. It just takes anything and gives it back nothing because the auth subsystem doesn't actually need anything for its foundation data type. Or it just gives it back empty auth or whatever. But if you have something which does need extra data floating around, then you'd have a function there, and in your actual foundation data type, you have an extra space for it, and it'll pull it out with that.
This is how we connect the main foundation to the subset foundation.
Yep. Yep. And then, yeah, so in particular for routing here, or for auth routes, the Yesod instance has a specific value to override here in the Yesod type class to specify where to go if we give it back that authentication required result. So back here, well, if I just hold down the button, it moves so fast it doesn't update. But yeah, here, so if we give it back an authentication required because they're not authenticated, then Yesod will automatically direct them here. And it also you also have a refer, and if this is true, redirect to the refer, it'll bring you back to where you were after you've done the auth. So yeah, so this is, you know, the simple Yesod auth type class instance. Auth dummy is basically the minimal testing, effectively, auth system. Because all it provides you is basically a box. You type in an identifier for yourself. You choose your own identifier. It just passes that along in creds. And then we authenticate becomes really simple because we just get that identifier out of the creds. And we just say, oh, they're authenticated. That's their identifier. And auth HTTP manager can just be an error because it doesn't need to use it and won't ever call it. And of course, laziness saves us here. Because otherwise, you know.
So this is generated by the scaffolding?
No, this is going to be, so this is in the scaffolding. Well, if you actually start like a real scaffolding, you have something even slightly better than this. But this will be in the scaffolding for the next exercise. Because then, well, actually, honestly, my justification is that in reality, you really don't have to write these. You just look on the internet, and they're there, and they don't have to change much. You just configure a few things. They're not complicated. The scaffolding comes with one. You just fiddle with it for what you need. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to write it from scratch because you don't gain much. Yeah. So we covered all that. So I'm just going to do an exercise real fast that basically has us play around with the isAuthorized function. So you're going to have a scaffolded site with the dummy auth plugin. We also got some styling in there now that's starting to look more like the blog stuff. And it's got a menu bar in it. I don't actually have that in here. Maybe I should have pulled it up. So just kind of almost an example of a way to give you configurability and kind of reusability of a menu bar. Basically logic for a page component in your Haskell. But again, this is something that's in the menu bar system that I have in the scaffolding is a dumbed down version of a menu bar system that comes in the real full scaffolding. So yeah, basically I just want you to add pages. Again, has them off. If you want to actually just work off a previous, one of the previous exercises, but copy in the stuff from the task 5 folder, if you have some stuff that you've been working on, you'd like to keep that around, you're welcome to. And yeah, you'll be getting the auth ID. So yeah, this is basically instance. I'm just pointing out. So our auth ID in this case is just a text value, and that's just whatever value basically you put in the box for the dummy auth login. Yeah. And basically all the styling I added is just dumped in default layout.lucius. It's kind of ugly. But right. I mean, it's the same thing as if you've already. Are you working off the task 5 folder?
No. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So just start adding a page like in the previous one. And then, so the main thing is authorized, right? Which is, did you put that F over? Okay. So basically, how where you decide if a user is authorized is in general the isAuthorized function, and that lives in the foundation because it's in the instance for Yesod, and that's it's kind of a choice to have all your authorization decisions kind of centrally, because it's easier to keep track of them like that. Because there's nothing special about isAuthorized really. It's just a handler function that kind of runs before the actual handler and has some predetermined responses depending on the simple data type you return back. You can just as easily actually manually check their auth ID in your handler yourself. And often you need to go and get their auth ID because you need to fetch that person's something from the database. So, but it's generally good to keep them all, at least keep a layer centrally to keep track of them all.
I just didn't make any modifications. I built and ran this.
Yeah.
And I see this page.
Yeah. So we're giving you the dummy.
How did this happen?
This is just from that instance you showed off.
Okay, so I don't see that.
It's in Foundation. So if you go to Foundation and you go under, so that bit's giving you the menu bar, and if you go down, just under Yesod app, you see
I see what you said indicator.
Wait. Yeah, keep it going. Yeah, Yesod off there. Okay. And that's what gives you that, really. Because auth dummy is actually supplying the box, and then the default auth handler is concatenating any plugins you have, but you only have the one.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is, where is this page's template?
That's probably in quasi-quoters inside yesod.auth.dummy.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was looking to see that.
Right.
Because I see a page, I thought I was...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just supplied by the library. And most libraries, yesod.auth.dummy basically doesn't have any options because it's not meant for real use.
Right.
Most libraries will give you ways of then overriding. They'll have their own type class for that particular auth instance, which will give you a way to override like the widgets and layouts they use for the logins.
And when I add a new page now that needs to be authenticated, that authentication code is going to be in the handle for that page?
You can do it that way, but so the isAuthorize function is also in here now.
It's authorized, okay.
It's in, well, it's not in the auth instance, but it's in the Yesod instance.
Okay.
Because Yesod decides that.
Yeah, it's very instance, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so for all the pages I can just add that here.
Yeah. And so there's also, we want one that specifically is looking for you to put in a specific identifier in the login box.
Okay.
So you got is authenticated there, but that just checks whether they have anything at all. Right.
So that's everything we need basically to force that to be. So I just look here. So it looks like this one, this page is the one that will require authorization.
Well, I'm saying you should do it for a page you make.
Okay. Well, so
yeah. So you made those.
I'm gonna.
Oh, you gotta make that. Is that gonna accept post requests?
No, this is gonna be.
Okay.
So
well, then you
like
don't.
A user.
Then you don't need to match false and true here, right?
What
Because
is false and true?
that second one is for whether it's a write request or not, whether it's a post/delete/that stuff, or if it's just a get.
Okay, so basically, just that without the. Is that then?
Well, wait. Yes.
Is that?
Yeah, because user homog doesn't
This is
actually
gonna
take
be
any
okay.
arguments, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So you just need one line then, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now,
And then I'll just have the page and that's it. Yeah.
right, but so now you mentioned the same thing twice, so you have to go.
Yes. So is authorized. Yes. Okay. Okay. So basically, you had like if it's not a post.
Yeah. So this example
then
is if the post would be like to post a comment, you want to make sure they're logged in before they post a comment or something.
Okay.
Yeah. But then you're also going to want to do one that requires being a specific user, where you match a specific identifier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just okay.
Which is like this admin example. There's actually like most of this is just in
So like
the slides.
admin, for example.
Yeah, just like that.
So, alright, so I'm at the point where I created the page and it's returning an error because it needs to be like a forced auth page. So would that be in this foundation.hs I'd add
Yes,
it, right?
yeah.
Would I add it here?
Well, you see this is authorized function. So the error message there, right, is claiming that something fell through the is authorized cases, meaning you didn't match it. So what this is matching on your routes, and your route's not in there.
So I'm kind of curious. I put in my own route, but it seems like this auth r is there. Is that what I should have called the test?
No. So auth that's for the subsite, and basically we don't want to stop the subsite from getting any requests, so we just return authorized.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, sure. So, I'm still kind of confused where I should go from here. So, like, will I get the authorized data in the same way that I got kind of like a message out of that site, or will it be something different?
Yeah, so if you look at is authenticated here,
Yeah. Is that a...
just a little bit down.
Okay.
Yeah. So in one of these size examples, yeah. But this runs in the handler monad just like it's authorized and returns an auth result just like it's authorized is supposed to.
Yeah.
Now what this one just does is it calls maybe a auth ID, which is going to return something of the auth ID type, which is defined in the Yesod auth type class right here. So it's a text in this case. And, basically if it's nothing, that means they're not logged in. And if it is something or anything, then they're logged in. But it can also be, you can also match just a text to see if they match a specific identifier. And how authenticate is written here, all it does is just pass through the identifier that they wrote in the dummy login docs.
Okay, so just to kind of sketch out what I want to do. So first of all, I want to check when they go to this new test page, check are they authorized? Or are they authenticated? Because there's two names. There's authenticated.
Yeah. So is authorized tells.
Oh yeah, you're curious.
Yeah, is authorized.
Because I'm also like, okay, I created a page, now what do I do next?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where I was. Yeah.
So is authorized is determining whether it tells you whether that user is authorized. Because that runs in the handler monad. It has access to everything, right? Everything about that user.
Are you talking about this one? The is authorized inside the Yesod?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you write that it doesn't just say whether a route requires authorization, right? It actually responds whether the user is authorized to see that page right now.
Okay. Oh, so we want to check is authenticated, and if they are authenticated, then say that they're authorized.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for a page that is just checking that they are a user that's logged in. But that's already the is authenticated function. That's what that does.
Okay.
Perhaps I gave too much.
So then what you here it looks like this is what you're talking about, right? It's authenticated function.
Yeah.
So you would use that here. You create
because it's the same type as the return from the is authorized.
Is authenticated. Okay, and I call it on my page, and then I return. What would I return if they're not? And I need to return a redirect or something.
That's is authorized.
I think I want to do is authenticated.
No. So
or is authorized.
You can. So you're saying you matching a new thing in is authorized, right?
Yeah.
You're adding a new case, and you want to call is authenticated there for that case.
Okay.
What's passed into the?
You also don't need a return because is authenticated is in the monad. You only need return to bring a value into the monad if it's not already.
Okay. So
There is an auth ID there, right?
Yeah, so that auth ID.
It's coming from the dummy auth.
Well, rather, no, it's coming. Well, yes, that's where the value is coming from. The type is coming from the instance, the type family for auth ID inside the Yesod auth instance.
Okay, but then because we use the dummy.
But since we use dummy and we just pass through the creds ident, it's literally what they typed in the box.
Okay, so here you can check for some particular string and say whether you're
Yes.
or not. And because you said this, when the user goes to the page, it automatically redirects them to the login, or do you have to do that yourself?
No, so when is authenticated, it's returning authentication required, or no, wait, authentication required. When it returns that response, then Yesod will redirect them to the auth route.
So you have to do that also then, right?
No, I'm saying as long as that's returned, it'll redirect them to the auth route.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's controlled by your is authenticated, right?
In this case, is authenticated returns that if they're not logged in. And then there's also the unauthorized response, which takes a string to give them as well, like a message. But basically says you're logged in, but you're not the right person. Yeah.
Alright, cool. I just realized you can change the background, so I just spent some time doing that. You can kind of make your font script in here.
Can you make it what?
Alright, I'll show you. So
it's really the afternoon, isn't it?
Look at this. Like, you just go to the font and be like, Zapino.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Imagine you can write real code like that, Joe, to someone. Like, imagine that. I don't know, I just found that very entertaining.
I'm sure someone does. That's the bad thing.
Are you doing this again on Saturday?
What?
No, Simon's doing it.
No, he's scheduled.
For one conference?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was considering if we kind of might not get through everything, so if people wanted to, I was going to gauge interest for doing like another couple hours on Saturday evening, like 3:30 to 5:30.
If we don't finish part of it, if we want to.
Or if we just want to do more, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's always more.
Yeah.
There can always be more. I could rewrite all my slides by then. Just don't sleep. Never sleep. So yeah, I don't know how interested people would be in that, because there's other talks then too.
No, I was trying to get one of those times.
Well, if no one's interested, you can take it instead.
No, I know. I'm gonna do it in the morning.
Okay, so
Mhm.
I made a page called rec that requires auth.
Mhm.
It redirected me here. Put some junk in, and
But then
then
you're logged in. Okay.
I try to go to the required. The
It's
page
redirecting you.
requires auth, and it redirects me as if I didn't actually do that thing.
But you're definitely logged in because the link there at the top has changed to log out.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Can we look at
So
your
does that mean
handler,
I did not set up
or
the
maybe your
handler?
is authorized?
Yeah, it's likely this. So I
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you're returning authentication required always.
unconditionally. Okay.
Yeah.
So I assumed that meant that like there had to be
No,
authentication
so-
required.
So is authorized, like I was saying up there.
I didn't catch that bit, I'm
Yeah, that's fine. Is authorized isn't saying whether a route needs authorization. It's saying whether a particular request, a
Yeah.
particular user,
So,
is authorized in this case to see something.
so the arguments I get are, what is this?
That's whether it's a write request or not. For now, it shouldn't
Okay,
matter since we don't
care.
have any write requests.
So then here I actually need to try to like somehow pull the auth bit out of the environment. How
Right.
do I do that?
Now, if you look down a little bit in the file, is authenticated function there.
Okay.
And you in the handler monad for all this, so you can do
Oh, look at
pretty
that.
much
You
anything.
basically did it to me.
Yeah, I know. But then you have to do one which does, but only allows a specific
Yeah,
user,
yeah, okay.
which isn't that hard either. But
Uh,
I may have made this one too easy.
possibly.
It would have been maybe I made it too easy only if I explained it better.
This whole, like that's already wrapped in the appropriate monad, so I don't need to return, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. It's weird that you're getting not found pages. Are you running the right app?
I might be on the wrong. No, it's test 5. Yeah. Maybe this is the wrong one. That was the wrong one. And then create, and then logged in, and then auth granted.
Yeah, and it redirected you back
So then
because you
how
were
do I
logged in.
figure out what that. Never mind. I'll figure it out. Thanks
Good,
for
great.
your help.
Yep.
So, okay, so I now have a page,
Mhm.
and the part that seems I'm very far from understanding is how to check if they're authorized without executing this function. So
Right,
checking
right.
if they're is that something to do with part of this function, or is that something
Well-
to do before this function gets called?
So the approach that's recommended is to do it before this function is called in the foundation, just so that you can have all your basically security in terms of where people are allowed all in one place. Now you can also check. You don't need to use any of that, like theoretically. You can all do it locally in every case. But for this, you should probably go over the foundation, and what the foundation function is authorized does is this is actually called automatically. And I think that's might be where you're getting hung up because you're trying to call it, right? This is automatically called for any request. and it'll, match true, and what you return here determines.
Oh, and I just copied the line above, and I'm returning authorized, so I am authorized.
Yeah, exactly. So what this does, this is in the handler mode. So this is basically the same as if you were in your handler anyway. It just doesn't have to return the HTML and stuff. So if you look down here, is authenticated. Is something that runs in the handler mode and then gives you back an off result. And this one just checks if a user is logged in, and they're only authorized if they're logged in.
Okay. So what is the other value that this could return other than authorized? It could return authentication required.
Yeah, which will redirect them to.
So if I change, if I just do that, that will never allow them to get.
Yes,
follow
but
that route.
the thing is, so this is what he just did, and by returning, this is called an every request. It's not telling the Yesod whether a route requires authentication or authorization. It's telling Yesod whether the user is authorized right now to see this.
Okay, so this is going to block everything.
Yeah, this is just every time you view requires author, it's just going to say, oh, you still need authentication, and redirect the user to the login page.
So which is what I wanted, actually. Yeah, so that'll be the fallout case. If it gets, I'll be able to see every other page, just not what requires auth page. So my home, I'll be able to see. I mean, obviously it's not the end state, but that's. So I can go there, but I cannot go to here.
Yeah, so it's redirected you to log in because it wants you to authenticate.
And and then I will not be able to authenticate because.
Well, you'll actually successfully authenticate,
But
but since you don't actually check if they're authenticated before telling Yesod that they're not,
right.
it just redirects them again.
And I can still get to the home page, but then I can't get to the required.
I'm not going to be able to sleep so much.
Is it tired?
I guess. This is the afternoon. It's had a hard day. Huh? 5:30. 6 hours.
No, that
What?
the task that we did, is it task 5 or
Task 5. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Because I was editing task 5, but then trying to run task 6, and I was like, why is it not
Yeah, this can be a problem. Can I actually get up? I turned on presentation mode earlier. Yeah, I have to close that real fast. Where's my cursor? Whoops. Hard to see the battery icon. Looks like it is in presentation mode. Why is the screen going to sleep? Weird. Beamer's so great. How's it going? Just doing other shit? Oh, Brittany. You should take a look at that.
Where is the? You have this menu there, right? That says logout. Where is it
Yeah.
coming from?
Yeah, so if you look in Foundation, and you go up in the file, that's here? Well, that's part of it, right? So that's actually declaring what things you want in it, yeah. And then if you look at the default layout, that's where it actually expands that out into HTML.
And then you have a conditional there. Because there's I mean, if I log in, it becomes a logout, right?
Yeah. No, the conditional's in Foundation because it takes actually a maybe A, and in this case, that's a maybe off.
Okay.
So only if it's just does it show these options, and only if it's nothing, it shows
I
those.
see. I see.
Yeah.
And then,
So feel free to add your page to that, but only show it when they're logged in or something.
okay. So let's say this one is the default, right?
Yeah.
On menu items. Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, so it closed over. So that's the other thing is I think This menu, oh, menu items far. Where are you calling this?
Wow, I have the last one tomorrow.
Oh, here.
Yep. Because we want to be in the handler and we want to know who's calling us, or rather, at least if they're logged in.
This is room 300.
So is this something that you edited by hand when you did this, or?
So again, the scaffolding has like a menu bar system,
Oh,
but it actually uses like a callback system. There's a comment in there,
Oh,
but
okay.
people don't read comments.
I think I probably would go to your unconference session on Saturday.
Wait, okay.
I got to a
okay.
certain point and then I lost track of what you were doing.
You're doing on conference on Saturday?
Well, I was
if
considering doing like another couple hours of this if people were interested.
Well, don't
For
do
the
it.
resort?
Yeah.
Is that going to
Don't
be
do it for me.
after-
If you end up doing it, I would go. Because you lost me.
Well, I just want to know other people. Okay, when did I lose you? Let me know.
Probably, what step you on now?
Exercise 5?
Yeah, you lost me. I should say I lost you. You didn't,
Oh, no.
you didn't lose me. I'm just lost as a state.
Okay.
Whatever this one is. Oh, no,
That's
this is-
Hello World.
That's from the Swim book. It's not your thing.
Okay, thank God. I was worried. I knew you'd done like something for in that.
Printing on the
I don't like typing things
Oh, printing
in
on
without
the-
really knowing what I'm doing. Like just sort of
Oh,
copy pasting.
Okay, how do you put out the
Right.
But I also like you have to go to certain cases. You're gonna go through everything. So if there's time to go through things more in depth.
I mean, it's for the length of the workshop. Sadly, but it's maybe less people might
look,
come.
I'm not an advanced Haskell developer. It might be more than I can handle at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
also
That's fair.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
How do you get the username to pass from auth to your page?
Well, so if you see if you look at this, it's authenticated, right? It's filling away some data.
Yeah, I just added this thing here.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh wait, I did task 3. So task 4.
Okay.
What do you want now? 5?
Yeah. You're not that far behind.
What happened about this?
No, so the question I have here is, you want... Oh,
Well,
because
I
it's
want them to be
dummy.
different pages, really. But yeah, because it's dummy.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Well, it's actually state it out because I'm not actually sure I knew what you were going to.
Okay, so what I was saying was, see, I just hard-coded this king here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and
the
that's
tag is only because it's a dummy auth,
yeah.
right?
So I mean, if you
But if I want to get this information and pass it down to the page and say welcome king or something like that.
so here, this is just running in a handler monad, right? And it's calling maybe off ID. Maybe off ID can
This one, right?
no down here. So maybe off ID there. See, that's getting the nothing or just.
Mhm.
So that's just a handler function.
Yeah.
So you can call it in your handler.
That's
Oh,
what I
okay.
thought, but I got some weird error about like it was the wrong type. Like
Oh, this is the... this is your handler?
Well, keep in mind that it is a maybe. Maybe that's your problem.
oh,
No, but here's the thing, right? This is what connects it, right?
Now, since this page requires off, you can try require off ID,
oh, that's a different one. Okay.
and
Oh,
that'll
okay.
basically redirect you if you don't have it.
That's the equivalent of this then, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So I can remove it from this.
Yes, but it kind of so it's nice to have all your authorization in one place.
Yeah, but the only problem I have with doing it this way is now I can't get. Can I still get the author information in my page?
Yeah. No, it doesn't delete it like get message.
Okay,
Right?
so it's basically
It's just a property of the. It's a cookie in a session. So
Oh, okay. So then
So
get
get message does
get
that.
auth ID or
yeah.
Get
Require a maybe. Yeah,
or
they're just handler functions.
require.
The same way you did it here. You said maybe already that you can call in your handler too.
Yeah, what's the difference between that and the require?
Require so maybe gives you back a maybe value. So if they're not logged in, it does gives you nothing. Require always gives you a value because if it doesn't, it short circuits
It'll
and
go back to
the
the
login.
page and then come
Yeah.
back. Okay. That makes sense.
I still got the error. But, I mean, I didn't. I just wanted to see if it would compile without me using any ID. Oh, it's widget versus handler.
Oh, do you not have a default layout? You have a default.
Oh,
But that's in the handler monad, not in the.
Whoopsie.
Yep. It look like you figured that out yourself.
So I'd like to pass the user name
Uh-huh.
to the template
Yeah, so people have been asking this. So the thing is,
So you need to get it in the monad and then pass it
to the widget, right?
to the widget.
Well,
So how do I pass it to the?
well, I mean, you just get it in scope, right?
So you just so I
Anything that's in scope will go to the widget.
will go. Oh, okay. So that's cool.
Yep. I mean, like I
Same
said,
thing of-
think of it as like the quasi-quarter. You know, just because it's a different file doesn't mean it's not still there.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, you did. It hurts.
Yeah.
So I'm getting this error. So I used this.
Oh, okay. I see. I think.
You probably know exactly what.
Yeah, yeah. This is just one of those cases of matching monad types with not monad types. So.
Checking to see if I can get back to that error because I was doing something else. No. I was trying to add the user page. I'm stuck on that. That's added.
So somewhere you put a link in,
Yeah.
and then got rid of your about, maybe.
I just need to.
Oh, you put in a match for it, yeah. Okay. So also, if you get that done, you can also add your page to the menu bar.
I'm just going to remove that. Okay, good. So it says
Yeah.
couldn't match the type, but I don't understand why this type is what's getting returned.
Yeah, so let's go to line 97. Okay. Okay.
Right. So
Right.
This,
So this one's actually pretty confusing. The type here. So you notice the first one is kind of a simplified type. If you look at these two lines here, expected type, actual type, that's like the full type. And you notice in the actual type, you've got nested handlers.
okay.
And that's because you're doing this return is authenticated as of type handler off result. And then when you return, it tries to wrap it in another handler. So you don't even need the return there because there's a return here.
Otherwise, I have to have something else that can unwrap it. Well, just easier not to wrap it in the first place.
Yeah, unwrapping monads isn't always possible.
Really?
Well, like you can't unwrap an I/O without being an I/O, right? You have to actually run it. I mean, the only way to do that is actually unsafe perform I/O.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. So now I get a different error.
And that's because you don't have a template for something. Because you added this user-specific widget file call there and something, and there's no user-specific files.
Oh, simple enough. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. You just learn the type errors eventually.
Suppose I'm in one of my handlers,
Mhm.
and I want to grab that maybe user stuff. Does that make any sense?
Laptop. I don't know what my laptop's doing today.
So I'm here in my handler.
Yep.
And I want to be able to call that. Like
Uh-huh.
that is the wrong monad for what we're doing here.
Exactly. But do you see the first do?
I do.
Did I give you enough?
No, but I'll try it under the assumption that you're telling me what I hear.
Because, default layout, right? Default layout turns a widget into a handler. So that outside whole... Yep. Okay, come on. Why are you sleeping?
No, it's not that. It's in that list of routes.
All right, maybe that'll fix it. 4:15. Okay. Okay, let me see. Wait. So how's it going?
My mind's off. It's not you. It's my
Is this
copy.
late? Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean,
This is not the same file.
foundations.hs.
LS?
Okay, this is foundation.hs. Is it an application.hs or?
Foundation.hs.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, Yesod auth app. That's what you wanted to look at there.
I just don't know if that's. Did you clone his repo?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't look at all like what I'm looking at.
Is it because of my font?
Is it because? Probably.
I mean, I'm just talking about this big block right here.
Yeah, so he's looking at something underneath that. So this is further down in the file.
Is it authenticated?
Yeah, you just passed his authorized.
Oh, there it is.
You know, the problem with the transparent backgrounds, it kind of doesn't help readability, man.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, I'd recommend just downloading Atom right now and just opening it up in Atom. Like,
Adam does some good stuff.
But all right, so okay, so what you want to do is let's actually.
I've never really used it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just gonna use it for documentation. It would be nice to see some of the more
Yeah.
tooltip documentation.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I built like at one point I was like, I'm not gonna have internet for a while, and I like spent like a lot of time like building like all the Yesod dependencies with the hackage documentation, and then like using some weird tools to convert them into some other compatible format to use for some other tool that views the docs. It was real. Ooh. Yeah. So how's it going? Did you
Not returning.
Oh, I've been
Nick
super
Cruz? Just
distracted
okay.
this afternoon dealing with stuff at work and so on, but I've got.
Okay, so let's take a look at what his
user
authenticator
page.
does.
So I just need to authenticate it now and display the auth.
Okay, so what that's doing
So that compiles.
is checking. Do you have one of these? Do you have a maybe authenticator? Do you have an ID?
Okay, so I'm looking at maybe authenticated function.
So yeah, so if you have it, then nothing. Then just go to authorization required. Otherwise, you're authorized. So then authorization required is actually where I think that they'll bump you around to the auth page.
exactly? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all you need to do in that
But-
file.
So the yeah, okay.
Oh,
cool.
if I'm missing something.
No,
please,
I
please,
just want to
please.
make sure because.
I don't want
Oh, yeah, you
say
look
the
good.
wrong thing.
No, you look good. I
Okay.
just wanted to see if it looked good too.
Yeah. So okay, so we're good in our foundation.
Freeload too.
Now we want to.
Oh, right. So actually, just now Yesod Devel should work actually.
Authentication.
So if you do, well, did you do this like stack build Yesod bin cabal install earlier? Did you run that? Okay. Well, if you ran that, you could probably do the stack exact Yesod Devel.
Yeah. Next and yeah. So next then. Or next.
Oh, 72 dependencies.
Yeah, we'll work
So
on it.
yeah. That's where it's done.
So it compiles.
We're at authentication required. Okay.
Yeah. So undo. So that's just you.
I guess I don't know that well.
Dude, trust me, it's a lifelong learning thing. I've only just started on my vendor.
So what page is supposed to be have?
So basically what that's doing is checking. Do you need
This
to
page?
have
Okay.
required, or are you already authorized?
Yeah. So right now, are you just returning authorized and
IDs, then you gotta go to authentication required.
Actually, it's not doing it.
well, you added it to foundation. No. So in the foundation is authorized. Is where you generally check these things.
So
So if you look down a little bit, you have is authenticated there, which is a handler that returns an auth result, which is the same type as you need over in
okay.
is authorized.
Okay.
And all this one does is check if a user is logged in at all, right? So yeah.
So that finds you the first one, and then to iterate.
So the thing about is authorized is it's not an indication of whether
But that's okay.
authorization is required for a page. It's an indication of whether a particular request is
Going
authorized.
around it, and it's only hitting this guy.
So it gets run
we're
before
good.
every
Authentication
request.
required, I think it's just something that will just redirect.
Okay.
So now.
And since it's in the handler, it has access to all the request stuff,
What's your page
like
that you want
the auth ID stored in the session.
Okay.
And that's what the maybe auth ID does.
Yes.
It tries to get the auth ID from the session. If it's not there, it gives you nothing. And if it is there and they're logged in, it gives you just whatever the auth ID is.
I would recommend getting a new Hamlet file.
Okay, cool.
And then call that
Has no ID.
Right, and so there's a few different return values here. There's authentication required.
Returning authentication.
Well, you're not calling is authenticated. So is authenticated isn't used right now.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so
Yeah, so if you go back a little bit, there's some helpful slides, yeah.
So you want a CP homepage
Yeah,
right
there you
here,
go.
and you want to, yes.
I mean, this basically has the answers.
And then you want to start blaming.
Well, I could really just go to the answer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I figured it'd be good to get most of those are from last night.
Yeah. So what you want to do for it is,
Like, I had them all split up, but, like, I just had it, like, actually, yeah.
I'm on a different page.
Well, like, I had it, like, I knew what I was telling you to do, but I hadn't actually, like, done it. I just, like, set it up so you could do it. And I wanted to make sure that it actually worked. I just felt like at least one or two things. Like, I was missing a language extension, like exercise 3. So I just kind of went through this all. Yeah, sorry. Go demonstration, yeah. Actually, I'm going to do him first since I saw his hand, like, a fair while ago, and then I'll go in that direction.
I'm trying to understand here. So here you're telling which pages don't require authentication and which pages require authentication, right? So
Yeah, comment maybe it's misleading. I mean, it's, you know, they don't require authentication because no matter what, we're returning authorized, right?
yeah.
But
That's
again,
something, yeah.
it's not declaring that to yourself these don't require authorization. It's just saying to every particular request, but
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
authorized. Yeah,
But let's say that there's a page like this page,
right.
which requires it. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying, okay, call this function and then it'll tell you what to do, right? Basically,
It'll tell-
in
yeah.
the handler mode, it'll tell you whether
Yeah.
So and here I'm getting this maybe authority.
So I think you're a little stuck here because you're trying to use one function. You don't is authenticated was only determined if someone is authenticated.
Right.
But you can write a new function.
And attach it to some other page. Like this page
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be
exactly.
different way of authentication.
Yeah, attach
This
it to a different page, have a different function, but
Right. So my
checks.
question is this: how does this auth ID come to this function? Is it going through the dummy auth plugin? How is that?
Yeah,
wired
so-
is my question.
So what happens here is that maybe auth ID is being provided by Yesod auth, which isn't the auth plugin. So Yesod auth provides that, and then that's getting your creds, which are stored in the session, and then those are passed to authenticate, which is written in Yesod auth in that type class.
Oh, sorry. Okay. One more. So okay. Let's say there's no session so far, right? We're starting fresh.
Yeah.
So
What happens here?
yeah.
So maybe auth ID, we'll check if it's check for like the creds token in the session. You'll see it's
This
not
is
there.
irrespective of
Returns
whether-
nothing.
Okay. This is irrespective of whether it's dummy auth plugin or some other plugin. This is the sequence.
Irrespective, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then if it doesn't find it, then it does its mechanism, whatever. It redirects you to a page, goes through that.
Well, no, before that, I mean, it tries to tell you, right? So if it finds the creds, it doesn't actually know what those are yet.
Okay.
So once it has those creds tie a plugin and the plugin's identifier. That's what's there. Actually, at this point, I'm trying to remember where authenticate is called. I'm not sure if it's actually called once on each one. Because authenticate's job is to take the creds from the... It's probably only called once. So it's probably just an auth ID in the session. And then, yeah. And then it's just, if it's there, it just gives it back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it gives it back.
Yeah.
And here's where I think different plugins can do different things. If you have like a plugin that can show database and check.
Well, so the main thing the plugins do is when you're actually in the login page, when you actually fill out those, right? And then when you fill that out, depending on which form you fill out, it posts to a different plugins form.
Right.
And that goes through whatever own process it has. Because it has full handler-ish control, you can
Correct.
do HTTP manager things, you can
Right.
set out packets, whatever.
Right.
But from there, you need to unify that into your system, right?
Okay.
Because each plugin has its own notion of auth. Yeah, but you're still in charge of authentication. So, well, no, I mean, rather
Authorization.
both actually. So they have their own mechanisms of authentication, but you got to unify because you can have multiple plugin types.
Right. Okay.
And that's what the creds type is. It's a plugin tied to that plugin's identifier.
Okay, and that translates the ID that the auth system
Well, that's
knows.
just the type, and then your authenticate function's job is to turn that into what your auth system uses.
Okay, so what do I get here? Do I get here?
Right here, you're just getting
creds
what's
ID?
literally in the box because authenticate. Go up a little bit, no, down a little bit, right? Because you're Yesod auth instance. Yeah, authenticate here just gets the identifier from the cred directly, the identifier from dummy, which just happens to be literally what's put in the box.
Okay.
And then returns that, oh, this person is authenticated as just that little
the-
string.
Okay, so now this is where you would want to do some translation if you would use some other auth plugin, right?
No, so that would have already happened by authenticate.
Okay, by already happened. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's already happened. And then here's where you just simply check maybe against your database or something that say, okay, authenticate,
Yeah,
but
so
is it
you-
authorized or not?
You pull out the row and say, is admin column, is that true?
Yeah,
Or, you know, something.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how does this work for say JSON APIs and stuff like that? Because there's no HTML there. There's no
Well, you still have headers, right? So cookies still work here.
cookies still.
And cookies where the client session is, right? So
Right, okay.
the Yesod auth system does support giving JSON responses, or at least taking JSON input. So, I mean, actually, it's kind of up to the plugin. Some plugins do, and some plugins don't. Most do. And then when they take it in, they'll generally still set it in a session, though, right? Now, I don't know.
Oh, so cookies are transferred even, I guess, for JSON. Like regular
Yeah,
JSON.
cookies are not really what you want to use, right?
Yeah, but this.
But they
happens
are
to use-
because
happens
it's still
to use cookies.
HTTP.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess then, even if I have, say, a Python client, with not a web server,
Yeah.
I could still use cookies.
Yeah.
And okay, I see. The only thing there is the redirection will have.
Yeah, but
it can be
it'll
HTML
translate
based.
that. It'll give you back a JSON response that tells you that whatever is appropriate. It won't actually tell you redirect
There's a
anymore. It'll
redirect
basically just tell you like we're done here or something like.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because I don't think there's no like standard mechanism saying
Yeah,
redirect in
exactly,
JSON. So it just gives you like a more generic.
And then
Like-
you're supposed to know where to
You're
go.
supposed to know where to go next. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is this flexible enough to allow you to have, like, let's say, a login at the top of each page, like specific form there?
Yeah. So generally, I mean,
Or
yes,
do you
it
have
definitely
to go
is.
different-
No, you don't. So I mean, that's generally your plugins. I mean, dummy is really restrictive, but generally your plugins will offer you like their form, or they'll just tell
As a
you.
widget.
They can also but then styling becomes weird because it's style how it is. But they will also give you. What they actually do is the forms are separate from the input from the form. So what you can actually do is you can create a form yourself that hits the right fields, and then
Oh,
it'll
okay.
pull it out
Then you
from
can
there.
style it the way you want.
Yeah, you can do it exactly how you want.
You create your own.
Okay,
Yeah. You can basically just override what widget it uses, override the pages. Just never send the
Or have a
author
pop-
log and R.
pop-up, like a JavaScript
Yeah,
pop-up.
yeah. So if you go to haskellist.org, right? I think Yesod it has like a pop-up thing. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's it's a very flexible system. It's just we're not using the flexible version right now. Right, yeah.
So I've got this to get the
Starting in a
user.
few minutes? Or?
Starting
Starting
what?
back in a few minutes? Or?
He just ran out.
Oh, you just ran out.
I mean, if you want to take a little break, what?
What did you say to him?
I insulted his heritage. No, I don't. I didn't do anything.
So I've got this page that requires user to be logged in.
Right.
Then the only way is to use
No, so
maybe out.
You can use require auth ID, and then you can actually use.
Is it require out?
Yeah, so there's require auth ID and maybe auth ID for things that return the auth ID.
Okay.
And require auth doesn't return a maybe, it returns the actual value. And if it can't get one, because you still not necessarily know that you're authorized, it'll redirect them.
Okay.
to log
So
in.
I kind of did that myself. I redirect to home, but I was wondering if I want to redirect
To
log
log in. Yeah, in that case, you'd have to specify like auth r login r. Which is, so if you look at the foundation auth route, that's where the login page is.
Aha. So then that type will be there.
Yeah.
Okay. But and now I was doing something else. So that's the default Hamlet.
Mhm.
First, this is funny. That
Oh, that's the up arrow.
sorry.
That's the up arrow. The little triangle?
Sorry. No, this.
Yeah, that's a Unicode triangle.
Okay. I thought.
If you
that
look at the
was-
site, it's this.
Oh.
That's the footer.
Okay, that's the footer.
Yeah,
That was-
no, the top bar is generated by this stuff.
Okay.
So you see, it's generating from menu items. So if you go to Foundation, this is what I meant to mention about a new menu bar defined with Haskell types and foundation.hs up there.
Okay, so let me. So foundation. HS.
Yeah. So if you go up to near the top,
Menu.
yeah. So this is the data type to define a menu item, and then over here is a function menu items for,
Okay.
and it takes an auth ID or maybe auth ID. Right now it doesn't actually take a specific auth ID, it just takes a maybe a.
Okay, so then I can add another item here.
Yeah, so the first one is if they're not logged in, and the next one is if they got just some auth ID, then they are logged in. So you could make it so you only show it when they're logged in.
Oh, okay, cool. So then I can. Okay.
Yeah.
So then just the formatting is really confusing. Okay, I get it. So that's
Yeah.
one element.
Exactly.
And that's the second one.
Yeah.
So then if I want a third one.
Oh, you should put it between. Log out always goes far right.
Okay.
I'm very particular about that. You're gonna fail if you don't. No. All right. It's not that bad.
Drivers don't work well.
No, I had great luck with my MacBook 5.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Website?
Mac. I mean, I was stuck with Arch after I accidentally wiped the Mac partition with DD though. So,
Disk destroyer?
yeah.
It would still probably be better if I like.
I know what's happening. I said I chose the
Yeah.
right term.
I don't have that much space on this thing.
I'd get a Dell, honestly.
Yeah, an XPS. Get one of
Is
those.
that the
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that way you can get a GPU.
I just
I just do whatever Chris says. It's easier that way.
I just don't want to get a Lenovo because after that whole Superfish thing, like I don't companies that install
Yeah.
rootkits on your hardware, I'm just not gonna buy hardware from.
There's some weird
He also says I should
stuff
use
with Lenovo.
You should use it.
You should use Arch.
Should have to get through
That's
this, Nixo.
that's a wrong answer.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You should use Manjaro.
I don't know what that is.
Manjaro. It's an Arch-based distro, but it's friendly because it comes with a full desktop
Don't
environment.
make me do things that is gonna make Chris mad at me.
Pac-Man is really nice. I have noobs telling me this.
You wanna download?
It is?
Did you remap your escape key?
All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not seeing that.
All right. I think
ID, theoretically, I didn't have to put that. So
yes, theoretically, but the idea is that you do it.
better.
Yeah, you need to match it in some sense,
Okay.
right? Because otherwise you'll get the error about not matching it.
So is authorized.
But
Okay.
you could also just match everything there and return authorized, and just do it manually in every handler. It's nice to have them all in one place. All right. How are things going? I think
This thing.
doing other things. How's it going over here? Oh, great. The menu's pretty cool. I like the menu. Okay.
No, you just never had one page. Really?
This journal has everything
Yeah, definitely. That's why I put it there. Originally I didn't have a menu item until like later, and then I was like, no, they're gonna want to have links. They don't want to manually put a link in every field. They can just put it in the Haskell.
Okay, cool.
So,
Yeah.
so I was gonna add the user. I was gonna put the user at home, but that seems like it'd be a little more complicated because you have to determine whether or not you actually.
I'm using regular.
Well, it's just like the maybe message, right? The get message. You just say maybe user, and you just use the $maybe in the HTML, right? That way you don't have to deal with cases in the Haskell. Yeah.
I was working on the claim, but I will my stack directory. It's not working now.
Oh no. You don't want to blow up your stack directory.
I don't know what the right way to do with stack, like expanding and keep growing, is you just stack install more stuff.
That you don't. You give in.
So that's the question.
I don't like that answer.
All right.
If I want to do menu items for specific users, so let's say I've got an admin, so it would be this, because that would be the out, where is it? Out ID. Is this?
Right. So right now this isn't actually. This is just maybe a. It will take anything. So you're gonna have to specify that type more to what the alpha ID is. So yeah.
So I would just use out ID there.
No.
Or is out ID not visible here?
Actually,
Should it?
give it a try with alpha ID. I think it should actually.
And where is it? Is it magical or is it used somewhere? It's used somewhere.
Yeah. So if you look at, it's just in default layout. So this actually just generates the menu items, and then default layout has a for all over them.
Okay. maybe auth ID. Okay, it takes maybe. Oh, so because it's used with this, then it should specialize, and it should work. No.
No, because well, the problem is.
Because.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, that should be. Well, no, because when you match here, that won't match on any A.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
auth ID.
Yeah, see if auth ID works. I kind of, you originally thought it wouldn't, but now I kind of think it would. But I don't know.
So, do you know how to resolve issue compiling Yesod off when I run that? Or when I try to install Yesod, stack install Yesod?
Yesod bin?
Yeah, the auth module seems to fail to compile.
Yeah, look up Yesod Quick Start. They might specify a few extra dependencies to grab.
You want to say not authenticated? Is it not authenticated, or what is it? What is the?
Yeah, it's not authenticated. No, it's not authorized, right?
Not authorized.
Because if it is authorized, right? Yeah. They get confusing. The authenticated, authorized. Yeah.
So you can play around. Again, this is more in the Cool.
It's not easy.
You gotta get it.
Maybe I just forgot the name. Do you have the slides up? In the slides. Just go up a bit until. Let me keep it going. Here. Unauthorized. That makes more sense.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yep.
This is outside the it says need one more argument here.
Huh.
That's what I got. Expecting one more argument to auth ID.
Try auth ID app.
Yeah.
Yeah, but put parens, because otherwise it'll. But that's just because it's after the match for any user. Yeah. All right, that looks like it works. Cool. Grab box. Okay.